The veil of the first light. 1,000 years passed after the age of Terran and Kalis. The tree of two suns stood at the heart of Elthera, its roots stretching into the planet's core, its branches touching the clouds. Around it, the city of luminous rose, built not of crystal or shadow, but of living light shaped by will and thought. From Terran's sacrifice had come a new people, the Luminara, children of balance. They bore both glow and darkness in their forms, veins of soft gold and streaks of silken black. Unlike the Illyrians before them, they could breathe in the deep void and hear the language of the stars. They were not bound by fear of either light or shadow. Both sang within them. For generations they lived in harmony, learning from the whispers of Elthera itself. The planet had become fully awake, its pulse steady and serene. But peace, as always, carries the seed of change. Beneath the tranquil seas, strange phenomena began to occur. Time ripples, moments folding upon themselves, as if the planet's memory were being rewritten. Trees that had grown for centuries would suddenly wither overnight, while forgotten ruins appeared as if newly built. The elders called it the veil effect, and they feared that the balance that sustained their world was unraveling. Among the Luminara was a young scholar named Cyraean, whose glow was faint and whose shadow deep. She was quieter than most, always listening to the hum of the ground and the whisper of the stars. While others studied the arts of shaping light, she studied echoes, the faint pulses that came from beyond Elthera's orbit. From somewhere impossibly far away, one night while mapping cosmic vibrations, she detected something that should not have been possible. A heartbeat, older than the universe itself. It pulsed at a rhythm too slow for life, yet too deliberate for chance. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. She called it the first light. Drawn by curiosity, Cyraean journeyed to the archives beneath the Tree of Two Suns, where the ancient voices of Illyra and Terran still lingered faintly in the crystals. As she touched one, visions flared before her eyes, Illyra standing within a sea of stars, Terran beside her, both looking upward at a colossal gate of radiant geometry. Through it, she glimpsed not darkness, but a vast living presence, the source from which both light and shadow were born. The vision faded, leaving her trembling. The words echoed in her mind. The veil is thinning. The source remembers its children. Cyraean knew then that the veil effect was not destruction. It was awakening. The universe itself was beginning to recall its origin, and Elthera, being the bridge of balance, was the first to feel it. But not all welcomed this. Among the Luminara was a powerful order called the Keepers of Still Radiance, descendants of the old Northern Creed. They had grown afraid of change, believing that awakening the source would unmake existence. Their leader, Varen, once Cyraean's mentor, commanded that all research into the veil be halted. "We were given peace by sacrifice," he said sternly. "To seek the origin is to risk losing everything," Cyraean defied him. With a small band of seekers, a shadow-touched warrior named Eilith, a light singer named Toven, and an ancient Umbrath mystic, she set out across Elthera to find the origin point of the veil's energy. Their journey took them beyond the known lands, across floating continents and under glowing storms, into the chasm of memory, where gravity bent and the sky reflected the ground. There they found something impossible, a mirror image of Elthera itself, upside down, suspended within the void. Its seas flowed upward, its suns burned beneath its crust. It was the echo world, a reflection born from the planet's own memory, where time ran backward and the air shimmered with dreams. In that strange mirror world, they met beings who called themselves the Echo-born, fragments of the past given form. They remembered Illyra as though she still lived. One of them, a girl with violet eyes made of glass, approached Cyraean and said, "You are her echo's echo. The bridge calls you." At the center of the echo world stood a tower of liquid light, the Veil Spire. It pulsed in rhythm with the first light Cyraean had discovered. When she approached, her own glow and shadow separated from her body, spiraling into twin forms, one of gold, one of black. The two stared at each other, alive, whispering the same words. We were never meant to be apart. Suddenly the sky tore open. The keepers had followed, led by Varen, who feared what she was awakening. "You would bring the end," he shouted. "The source will consume all form." He unleashed a surge of radiant energy, striking the tower. The echo world screamed. Time itself fractured. Sarayan fell into the light and through it. She awoke in a place beyond stars, beyond shape, a boundless field of colorless brilliance. Before her stood a presence vast and gentle, neither male nor female, neither living nor dead. Its voice spoke through every particle of her being. "You seek the source. I am that which began all things, the first light and the first shadow. Once I was whole, but I divided myself so that I could understand what I was. Every star, every being, every thought is a fragment of me, returning through memory." Sarayan wept without tears. Then why the veil? Why the pain and forgetting? Because creation must forget itself to grow. If you remember too soon, you stop becoming. "The veil was mercy, but it's fading," she said. "The worlds are remembering again?" "Yes," the source replied, its voice trembling with something like sorrow. "Because you are ready. But with remembrance comes choice. You may dissolve back into me, ending separation forever, or you may remain, carrying the memory into life, letting creation continue its dreaming." Sarayan hesitated. She thought of Elthera, of the trees that sang, the people who glowed, the balance between light and dark that had cost so much. "If we dissolve," she whispered, "there will be no songs, no laughter, no love, only peace. But peace without life is only silence." The source smiled, or something like it rippled across its form. "Then you choose to remember but not return." A surge of brilliance engulfed her. She felt every heartbeat on Elthera, every spark of light and shadow within every living being. She became the planet's pulse, not as Alira did through sacrifice, but through awakening. She bridged the worlds, the real and the echo, the memory and the now. The veil mended, not to hide, but to harmonize. Time and space wove together like threads of one grand tapestry. The echo world merged with the real one, creating a new realm where past and future coexisted, where thoughts could shape matter, and dreams could become real. Varen, the old keeper, wept when he saw her light fill the skies. "I was wrong," he whispered, kneeling. "She is not ending us. She is teaching us how to begin again." The people of Elthera awoke from their slumber of peace and rediscovered wonder. They no longer worshipped Alira or Terran as gods, but as family, ancestors who had walked the same path of seeking. They called Sarayan the Awakener, the one who spoke with the source and returned not as ruler, but as guide. And for the first time in eternity, the source itself watched through living eyes, curious and joyful, as its children, light and shadow both, built worlds, wrote songs, and dreamed. High above, the twin suns burned brighter, but between them, a third light appeared, faint, pure, eternal. Not a star, but the reflection of the source itself, watching, learning, remembering. And thus the saga of Elthera came full circle, a world once torn between light and darkness, now beating with the harmony of all creation, forever awake, forever becoming.